Welcome to another mandala video. Today it's going to be very different because I'm going to show you how long it really takes me to create a 10-inch mandala. So there will be no editing today. So make sure that you have a snack handy because it's probably going to be a long one. Before we get started, let me kind of tell you what we have here. So we have here a 10-inch mandala, a 10-inch wood round that I got off of Amazon. It's painted black with, I think I used this one from Decoart, the multi-surface satin in pure black. And this is actually leftover paint from one of my big pieces that I made, and I want to finish it up, and I just really want to create a small rainbow mandala. So let me tell you the colors that I've used. So the purple is purple Pizzazz. Then the blue that I used is Peacock Teal. The green is Irish Moss. You could also use green apple if you have that one. That's also a very cool color. The yellow, however, that's kind of a thingy. So I wanted to use saffron yellow, but I don't have that. So I actually grabbed primary yellow and bright yellow, and I kind of mixed them together a little bit. So it's mostly primary yellow with a little hint of the bright yellow. Basically any yellow will do. Then the orange that we have next is the bright orange. And then for the pink, I grabbed dragon fruit. So that's what we have basically base paint wise, what's in the pots. What I'm also going to use is white pearl. I have that in a pot, and I also have it in Nuvo drops, Ivory Seashell in Nuvo drops. And the other one from Nuvo that I have is apple green. So that's what I'm going to use. And let's kind of start by dividing it up. So I already filled out, or basically made the center. I have here a 9-inch one, and I basically kind of eyeballed it so where I thought it would be in the center, and then made it odd. That's what I did. I am going to use a 16-point mandala stencil, and I'm basically just kind of eyeballing it again, lining it up, and then kind of seeing if the corners are fine. These rounds are not completely circular, so there is that. So then I have my pencil, and I'm just going to kind of create U shapes in the beginning of this vertical guide marks. Wow. So English is also my second language, just so you know. So if I mess up words or sentences, that is it. So let's just go beginning of each horizontal guide mark or circular guide mark, kind of like that. Okie dokie. Then I'm grabbing my ruler, and I'm just going to connect the dots, or basically the U shapes that I made. We're going to connect the opposite ones. The pencil I have is, I got this as at a, I want to say nail store, but that's not it. A sewing store. It's just a white chalk pencil. They actually have fillings in all types of colors. It's a really handy pencil. Never have to sharpen it. Works on most surfaces. Okay, these guide marks start on basically 2.5 centimeter, or I think it's 1 inch almost. Yeah, kind of 1 inch from the center dot, and these are, I believe, 1/2 inch apart, which is around 1.2 centimeters. So let me just extend these like that. Okay. Yep. Let me fix my compass. Yeah, it's kind of in the center. Okay, first ring. Loud seagulls today. I live at the Dutch coast, so we have a lot of seagulls here. Okay, then I'm basically going to go back in. I'm actually going to do that. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? And then I'm going to go back in, and basically halfway between the two guide marks, I'm going to make another guide mark. Maybe it helps if I have it in the center of the thingy. And I'm kind of going to eyeball and make smaller ones as well. Like that. Okay. So that's the guide marks done. Let me clean up. Okay, dokie. I'm going to start with the Nuvo drop in Ivory Seashell, and basically this entire center I want to have covered. I'm kind of making a little bit of circular motions. And then just before it basically hits that guide mark, I'm going to stop because it will fill out a little bit. It needs to be a little bit more circular though, so let's pull it that way a little bit. Okay. And if I did not have this, if you don't have the Nuvo and you're doing this with pearl, I think it would be not size 10. Let me measure. Size 11 or 11 and a half should be, I think size 11 you should be good. Okay. So when you have the rainbow, this was a tip that I got from Thoughtful Dots, and I will link her channel down below. It was a Patreon tutorial, and she just explained basically how to work with the rainbow. You just have to make sure that you just go in rainbow order instead of grabbing colors from the middle. You always want to work either from the outside in or from the inside out. But does that make sense? I will show you. We're going to start with the pink. Going to start with the pink, and I'm going to go to, I think I'm going to go to a 1 millimeter. And we're going to make a ring of dots. close to the center dot. These are always a little bit tricky, or at least for me. The first ring, it's always, this board also has a little bit of texture, so that's kind of sucky, but that's okay. I can tell it warps my dots a little bit. So these wood circles are great to practice on, but ideally to create a mandala, I don't know, just if you want to sell them, or you know, for a gift or something like that. Personally, I would use a different base. I usually paint on MDF board, but I also know people who paint on birch plywood. Okay, that's the first ring. I'm going to go to the orange, and I'm also going to go up in size to the 1.5. Should be able to go in between the dots of the previous row. Spacing is not ideal. That's quite a big gap there, so I'm actually going to remove, let's remove this one. Make it a little bit bigger. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. I'm actually going to stay in the 1.5, I think. 2.5, 3. Yeah, I'm going to stay in the 1.5. I'm just going to grab a little bit more paint on my tool for the yellow. And I'm actually going to start a new row. The more paint you have on your tool, the bigger the dots will be. Why is it? Annoying board is messing up my dots. And this sometimes happens. So what I grab is my black paint and the brush. Fix that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the more paint that you have on your tool, the bigger your dots will be. And if you tap, it will also unload a little bit more paint. Okay. I'm moving up in size to a 2mm and we're going to go to the green. And I don't mind a little bit of space between the outer rings because I can very easily place micro dots between to fill up that space. And I'm going in between the dots of the previous row. So I know that this video is going to be long because it just takes time to, you know, do everything and finish the mandala up. So let me know if you like this style of video where it is just no editing, or if you prefer shorter videos. Next, I'm going to go to the 2.5 and the blue. Yep. I've noticed if you want to get more paint on your tool, just instead of dipping it in, kind of scoop. Makes sense? Just get more paint on. If your dots are smaller than mine, you can also go up in size. Tool-wise, I mean. And in my description box, I have stuff linked, in case you're wondering what tools I'm specifically using. And if you see a link that contains an asterisk behind it, it means that it's affiliated and I earn a small commission. And I do use kind of one of those sites, you know, for affiliated links, but not all my links are affiliated. So there's that. Okay, I'm going to go to the 3 and the purple. Again, I'm going to go in between, and there is quite a big gap, but that is completely fine because we're going to fill it up. Okay. So now we are ready for our first petal pattern, and what you want to watch for is, as I said, don't go, or at least you can, but if you want to have it look like a rainbow piece, don't go from blue, green, yellow, and then orange, and then have that the colors. That's what I actually used to do until I got that tip. But kind of what you want to do is kind of figure out what kind of design you want to create, see how many colors you need, and then either go from this side, so basically from the outside in, or count the colors that you want to use. So for instance, if you're going to use a pattern that has 5 colors, you can also start with the orange, then go to the yellow, green, you know, kind of like that. So kind of keep that in mind. I want to have the pink last, so on the outside. Okay, I'm grabbing my 4 dotting rod and I'm going to go, I'm going to use basically 3 colors, and I'm going to go from yellow to orange to pink. So we're going to start with the yellow, and I'm going to make a dot on every other guide mark. Okay. Cleaning my tool, then I'm going to go to the pearl, and with 0.8 I'm going to walk the dots. So I'm going to make a dot at the top and then walk them all along the sides. that noise you're hearing is my dryer. I should turn it off because I think the clothing is done. Okay. Okay, we're going to go to the orange and let's go to a 2mm. I'm going to make 3 dots. 2 on either side of the guide mark and 1 just above or below, kind of depending on how you want to look at it. Okay. Then I'm grabbing a brush, and you can do this next step also with a stylus tool if you find that easier. So the brush set that I'm using will be linked in the description box. It's basically a set of 6. However, it's 3 different types of brushes. You just get 2 of each. And I'm actually going to go to the largest one, which is the 0. You may think, well, it's a very big brush for such a small stroke, and it is, but I just prefer this. So you can use a smaller brush as well if you want to. And I'm just going to use the tip of the brush like that. And I am going to make a brush stroke. Like that, kind of a banana. And again, you can also do this with the stylus tool if you want to, if that's easier. I don't know why, but one side basically curving that way is easier for my wrist. So those brushes always look a little bit neater. But just take your time. Honestly, this type of art, it's not meant to be rushed. And honestly, brush strokes, well, everything in life takes practice to get good at it. But especially with the brush strokes, it just takes time to, I don't know, find the placement for your hand, the types of brushes that you like. It's all very personal. Okay, that was the first brush stroke. Now I'm going to go to the pink. And we're going to frame the petal. So I'm just taking a little bit more paint on my brush now. And we're going to stop just on the inner part of this guide mark. And you want to make sure that they don't overlap the guide mark here. You want to keep them on either side of that guide mark. If your paint is pretty wet, pretty thin, you kind of need to have a little bit more space between the two because it will flow out a little bit more. This paint is already a little bit thicker. So I should be good. Okay. I want to repeat basically this pattern between here, and I have a little bit more room here. I use the 4, right? What if I use the 4 again? And then 1. Maybe I can then use 4 colors. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I can use 4 colors here. What I actually like to do when I'm creating a rainbow mandala like this is now I went basically like this, right? So for the next row, I'm going to flip it and I want to go like this. So I either want to start with the pink and go all the way to purple, or I'm going to count how many I have and then go to purple. That is just how I prefer to do it. I can fit 4 colors. I'm going to start again with the yellow and the 4mm. And I'm going to make a dot there, very close to the petal. So basically on this guide mark here. Okay. We're going to go to Pearl again and the small tool. And I'm going to walk the dots again. Then I'm going to the other side, which is 1.5 and the green. I'm going to make one dot. And let's make a swoosh instead of the brush stroke. So I'm using the 1.5 and basically placing a dot and then dragging it up. And you can also do this with a brush. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the blue. And I'm going to go to 2mm. Oh, I need 2mm, not making 3 dots again. And now I am going to brush. And I'm going to follow this again. It could be a little bit neater. It is what it is. And mandala making is a great way to get over perfectionism, because perfectionism isn't attainable unless you're a machine. And we are not. The next one is going to be purple. I could actually have squeezed in another brush stroke, but that's the trouble with this. If I squeeze in another brush stroke, it kind of takes away from the color scheme that we have going on. Okay, I'm going to go to the Nuvo drop in Ivory Seashell. If you don't have this, you can also use the pearl. I'm going to make swooshes. I'm going to do over in here. Going to make the first dot on this cross of these guide marks here, so there. Then I'm grabbing a needle. It's actually a tool for clay, but it doesn't matter. You can also use the smallest stylus tool that you have, stylus tool. 2 dots beside it. And drag those up too. And here I'm going a little bit beside the guide mark because I want to have it in the center of the petals, so that I have the room that I need on both sides to make 2 more swooshes. Oh, this needed to be a little bit lower. Okay. So let's remove this one. Am I correct in that? I think so. Yeah. These are touching. That's annoying. I'll remove those completely. Those are touching as well. This I kind of keep forgetting that this paint flows out quite a bit sometimes. So I'm removing this with a cotton bud, and then I'm grabbing the black paint that I used, and I will paint over it. Same thing here. And this just happens, and it's fine. So I'll leave those two to dry. Just have to make sure and remember that I don't make my dots too big.
Ik heb toch al een stuk Mexicaanse groenten mee.
regular pearl. Yes. Yes. And the 2mm. Sorry, I had to think a little bit. I'm going to make dots, walking the dots kind of to that point there. And if you want them, you can curve. If you want to, you can curve them. Apparently, I am not. Or maybe a little. So here, I'm actually going to separate the two. I'm just scraping that paint away, like that. Okay. So now I'm going to do a ring of dots, and I am going to grab the, let's go to the 4, and what's the color that I want to do? I think I want to do green. Yes, why? Because I like it. So Maybe I need to prep these boards twice next time to fill in a little bit more of the texture, because it's okay. Okay. I can actually already kind of fill in this part here. What I'm going to do with the Ivory Seashell is make small dots, hopefully. Can I? Yes. Oh. Can also use pearl for this, just regular pearl. And then I'm going to drag that down in between the two dots. Regular pearl is probably easier, but that's okay. My bottle is almost empty. Okay. And if you don't have a lot of space, not as much space as I have, you can also just do micro dots, which I will do in a minute for the other two rows. Why are you touching as well? Darn it. That's better. Okay. Then I'm grabbing pearl. I'm just staying in the same tool because this one will work with the pearl that I have. I'm going to make micro dots between the blue row and the green row. So first I'm just doing 2 between the blue dots and then 2 between the green dots. So basically just kind of walking the dots a little. You could also do this with the yellow if you want to. And you could do that all the way in. Then I'm going to go to a 0.8 millimeter and I'm going to do micro dots in this row. Okay, I'm going to go to a 6mm and we're going to use all 6 colors. I'm going to start with the purple. I'm making a dot on every other guide mark. Then I'm grabbing pearl and the 0.8mm. We're going to walk the dots again. I want the first dot a little bit bigger than the rest. Okay. Then with a 1.5 we're going to go to the blue. I'm going to make a dot. And then make a swoosh. And again, you can also do this with a brush. And I'm basically pulling the paint around. Because we have a little bit more distance to go with this paint. Then we're going to go to the green, and let's go to a 2mm. And we're going to make 3 dots again. Okay. I'm going to a brush. Am I going to use this one or one smaller? I think I'm going to go to one smaller, which is a 00. And we're going to frame the swooshes. And again, you can also do this again with a stylus tool. I actually prefer my paint a little bit thicker for brush strokes, personally. Okay. I think I'll stay in the same brush. I'm going to go to the, I need space for 3 more brush strokes. Which I have, or am I going to do one like this first? No. Okay, going to go to the yellow. Same brush. And I'm going to frame the petal again. Like that. Okay. Cleaning my brush. And then drying it a little bit, and then we're going to go to the orange. I'm going to do the same thing, but these will be a little bit shorter. Okay. Cleaning the brush. And then we go to the pink. And again, this one will be shorter. This is very close together. Okay. That's fine. Will that fit? Okay, so I've been thinking and I think I have an idea. I kind of want to make a swoosh pattern here. We're going to finish it off with 2 rows, so I want to leave these 2 open. I have an idea. I think I'm just going to be basic and just use pearl. If you don't have the Nuvo drops, use pearl with a 3mm. Yep. Let's grab some green Nuvo. This is the apple green. I'm going to make dots on top of these 3 swooshes. Okay. And I'm also going to do that here. And if you don't have Nuvo, wait for the swooshes to dry before you put anything on top. Okay. I am going to go to pearl and let's go to a 2mm. Here I'm going to go, yeah, from this one. Oh. And these will be in a little bit more of a curve than those are. Okay. I'm going to go back to pearl, the Nuvo. I'm going to make a small dot between those, just above those 2 petals. And I'm going to drag that down. Okay. On these, I'm going to top dot with the green, because that's still in line with basically the rainbow, right? Okay. Then I should top dot these with orange. I'm going to go to 3mm. Okay, top dotting these. I think I want to top dot these with pink. So still the 3mm. These are going to go, instead of in the center of the dot, they're going to go towards the ring of dots that I made. So to the bottom of the dot, that's where I'm going to place the small top dot. Okay. Okay, for the last two rings, I'm going to do blue and purple. So then we have, for the rings, we have green, blue, and purple. That's kind of after a long debate. I'm going to go to the, this was the 4, I believe. We can do the 4 here as well. So I'm going to go to the blue. If you're wondering why I'm holding the paint pot, is because when I tilt it a little bit, more paint basically flows to one part, because my paint pots are quite empty. So I can just grab a little bit more paint on the tool. And if you have a bigger piece, what you could also do is use the colors of the rainbow, you know, in one ring, so that the first pattern is pink, for instance, and then the second is orange, and then, you know, go out like that. I think that would be very, very cool too. So I kind of want to do that on a bigger piece. And the funny thing is, I used to not really like doing the rainbow, but switching out the red for pink made all the difference. And I don't know, now that I've done one, well, actually two now, I'm kind of digging it, man. So yeah, I want to make a big one and then, you know, do all the colors, or all the designs basically per design. So this one would then be pink, different colors of pink, and then the next one would be different colors of orange. You know, kind of like that. I think that would be cool. And even just switching out the pearl white accents for gold makes such a difference. So you can just play with this. And that's just, yeah, it's just very cool. Just takes a little bit more planning, which I'm not very good at. So it's also a challenge, which is a good thing. Because you kind of have to plan more, especially if you're doing a rainbow piece like this. You know, just planning out your designs a little bit more. So that can, at least for me, it's challenging, which is fine. You know, if you never get out of your comfort zone, then you won't grow and learn. At least that's my opinion. And I do have to say, monochromatic mandalas is very much into my comfort zone. I love doing monochromatic mandalas. But I don't know, I'm really digging the vibe here as well. So yeah. Let me know if you have a favorite color palette to work with when you're creating a mandala. And I'm also curious, how do you pick your color palette? Is it, are you inspired by pictures? Or I don't know, maybe flowers that you see? Are you inspired by other people's mandalas? Or are you just very much, I'm very feeling a green vibe, so I want to make a green mandala? Let me know. So for me, it's kind of a combination. I get really inspired by watching color palettes that other mandala artists have used. I get inspired just by, I don't know, the type of weather we're having or the season we're in. And sometimes I just open up the drawer where I have all my paints in and I'm like, yep, that's the color palette that I want to create something with today. Also, another tip, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a lefty. So I actually build up, especially with these rings that I do, from right to left. So I can see how far I place my tool, how far I place I don't know how to explain, but it's easier for me to go that way than to go that way because then my hand is in front. But if you're right-handed, it's probably easier to go the other way, to go that way, so you can kind of, you know, better see where you place your tool, if that makes sense. So when I started, most people who are doing mandalas, at least the ones that I watch, are right-handed. So I also copied that, you know, and just went along and went that way. But it's just gets messy very, very quickly. Okay. Then I'm going to go to the purple. I'm going to go up in size. Yeah, I think I am. So I'm going to go to the 4.5 and the purple. Let's kind of see if we can fit them in between a little bit. Let's start here. Why are my dots wonky? I need to go bigger. I just got a call that my crickets are in for my baby spiders, so. Yeah, I have, if you don't know, I also have tarantulas here in the house. And we also have babies. It wasn't planned. But basically I have 3 different species here. And one of the species that I have, the common name is Trinidad olive. They can live communally. So I bought online, I bought 3 females and I put them in one tank. And then all of a sudden, basically a year later, we were like, what is that? The baby spiders have spiders in there? Or no, let me retell it because I'm making a mess. Any whoosies. They're webbers, so we don't see them a lot. And I actually thought that they were molting, and then when they molt, they basically close up their burrow. So my husband was like, "Ooh, they're out!" And by out, I don't mean out of the terrarium. I mean outside of their burrow. So I went downstairs to check on them. And had my face planted in front of the glass, and all of a sudden my husband was like, look, they have a little friend, that's funny. And it's not really that weird because we've actually had it happen that the crossback spiders that we have here, which are orb weavers, they go everywhere. So we've actually had it happen that they had a baby crossweb spider in their terrarium. Nothing happens, they just, I don't know if they eat each other, but usually nothing really happens, and the orb weaver is like, I don't really have prey here, so I'm going to relocate. But when I was looking at the basically tiny spider that was in the terrarium, I was like, that's a baby tarantula. How the hell did we get baby tarantulas? Now I know the theory, I know how they mate, but I was convinced that I had 3 females in there. Apparently we did not, so now we also have baby spiders. That's basically the tail of the baby spiders. But they also have very small crickets that I eat, and those are in now. So I'll go pick them up tomorrow because I don't have a car today. What kind of pets do you guys have? We also have, besides the spiders, we also have 5 cats. We have a snake, and that's kind of it. Also used to have a dog, but unfortunately she passed away over a year ago. It was a husky. And oh my lord, are those dramatic dogs. Honestly. Mm. Okay, so we are 2 hours in, over 2 hours actually, but it's almost done. You know, and you can add as many things as you want. If you want to top dot the rings, you can. If you want to make more, fill more stuff in, you can. This was actually a pretty quick one for me because usually they take longer. Okay. Now, as for touch-ups, I can see that some kind of have, you know, it happens. So here, for instance, I have a little bit of purple, so I'm just going to add a little bit more blue. I think that's kind of it for that row. So here I need a little bit of black. So I just grab a small tool, a little bit of black. And that's basically how you touch up if you need to. So let me kind of see. Okay, we have a little bit here. And here on top of the brush stroke, I'll go to the orange. If you're quick enough, you don't have to do this. You can just basically wipe it away with a cotton bud, but I wasn't paying attention. So here a little bit of pearl back, like that. Okay. Oh, now that I have my pearl anyway, I'm going to do micro dots. I'm just going to do 1 dot on the outer ring and 1 dot on the inner ring. If you want to do both rings like we did here, you can. And after this is done, it's just a matter of letting it dry so I can remove the guide marks and show you how it looks without the guide marks. I don't know if I'll be able to varnish it before I end the video, because we're having kind of snow today and I have to varnish outside. So I just have a spray varnish, but I don't want to do that indoors because it stinks. And what I actually did in my big one is I put the green Nuvo drops on top of basically the green ring that I did there. And I also have, you know, shimmer blue and purple. So I top dotted the rings with those to just give them a little bit more sparkle. And another one that's also pretty fun from Nuvo is, I think it's Morning Dew, which is a clear. So if you put that on top of, as a top dot on top of the rings, you just give it shine. It's actually pretty cool. So if you don't have a particular color, but you still want to have, you know, the raised texture, you can try one of those, you know, the Morning Mist. I actually thought it was like this, basically a pearl, but it wasn't. But it's still fun to use. Yep. Usually I kind of do this as I go. So where I basically see that I made and I kind of need to touch up, I'll just usually do that as I go. And I also had a little bit of, a little bit of blue back there. Like that, okay. And then we will go back to the micro dotting. Okay. So I think I want to do something there. Yeah, I actually think I do, looking at this. So I'm grabbing a 1.5 millimeter and my pearl. I'm just going to kind of walk the dots like that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let it dry and then I'll be back. We can remove the guide marks and then we will have the finished result. So hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, she's dry. So I'm going to clean the mandala with a baby wipe. And then here it is. I like it. I like it a lot. So the best thing to protect the colors and the mandala, so you can also basically kind of clean it, you know, if it's a little bit dusty, is to put on a coat of varnish. But I'll have to wait until the weather here is a little bit better. But I really like this one. So let me know down below if you liked this video, if you want to see more of these where I just go from, I don't know, start to finish, no editing. Let me know down below, or maybe you prefer kind of shorter formats. Let me know what you prefer. Also let me know if you're going to recreate it. Maybe you were painting along. Let me know down below. And then that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to wish you a fantastic day, a fabulous evening, happy painting, and I will see you soon in another video.